Hey, welcome back to the New England Endurance Podcast. It's been a while since we posted, but we're in the middle of summer, and I think we're coming back right at the right time because cyclocross is just around the corner. That's right, cross is coming. And if you've ever been curious about cyclocross, or if you're a seasoned racer that's used to the sound of cowbells in your ears, I think you're going to love this episode. I think you're going to want to know today's guest. We have Jeremy Brazeal on the podcast today. He's the driving force behind this cross series in Connecticut called Project Mayhem. And it's a series I think that's doing something really important. It's lowering the barriers to cross and to racing in general, making it more accessible, more fun. Jeremy's worked for some iconic brands in the past, like LEGO and Coca-Cola. And I think a few years ago, he decided to maybe stop complaining about the state of grassroots racing in New England and try to build something a little bit better. So today we're going to talk about why he started this Project Mayhem, what makes it unique, who else is involved. Maybe we'll pontificate on the state of cross in America. But I think this is going to be a great episode. And Jeremy, welcome to the New England Endurance Podcast.
Hey, Art. Thanks for having me. It's an honor.
Yeah. I'd love to start at the beginning. I think you had an idea of like making something better. And I'd love to hear like, what was the defining moment when you said, oh, we should really build this like new series in Connecticut?
Yeah. So there's a fair amount of stuff. I would say.
Let's unpack it.
Yeah, let's unpack it. So it's pretty layered. Originally, my thought was to have a New England series again, quite honestly. A lot of the races are these smaller independent series. At the time, there's a River Valley series up in Massachusetts. There was the Connecticut series of cross, which most of our races are from that series. But there was no real overarching New England series that went, across state borders, right?
Yeah.
And that, to me, it's arguable that New England is the birthplace of cyclocross in the United States. We have Mansfield Hollow, which is in our series, is one of, if not the oldest. Continually running cross races in the country. My first exposure to bike racing, other than BMX, was racing cross. I started in 1987, I believe, and then moved into road the following year. So I just really wanted that to be back.
You've seen some series come and go in New England over that time, like the Super Cup series, and
we slowly saw the series, New England series, die, right? Die like a slow death over a few years. And I think the biggest loss was finally when Gloucester ended. And that was really a pivot point where it's like, okay, what's going on here? That was part of it. The other part of it was the state of cycling in general in the country right now, especially post-COVID, around no longer grassroots, no longer supportive community. And there's a number of reasons that seems to be happening. And so we also wanted to find a way to start that again and start that up from the bottom up. And, too many races, and, forgive me, elite riders, for saying this because I used to be one myself, but a lot of races cater to the elite riders or the masters, and everybody else is just, okay, well, if you please buy, a ticket to race, right? So that inherently seems like an opportunity to do something different. And a lot of people who were new or considering cyclocross would say things like, oh, it's intimidating, it seems really hard, it's so serious. And these aren't the things we used to use to describe cross. Like, you used to have the serious guys, but then you also had a very community-based food trucks, people hanging out, people talking. And, we weren't seeing that a lot. So when you just have the seriousness, somebody is not going to just openly be, okay, I want to go try out this sport.
Yeah. It's
very intimidating. So we also
I do think that there are some race promoters who are keeping the fun alive, right? You've got Colin Reuter, you've got Adam Meyerson. Like, those events are pretty fun. You show up, it's a great vibe. But I hear you, like, a lot of the whole atmosphere has sort of changed as a whole.
Yeah, and There's some great events, and you've named a few fantastic promoters. I was just hanging out with Adam last weekend at the Cycle Smart camp.
Nice.
These are great people that are putting on some really great races. But once again, what seems in our sport in general that is dying down is these community-based, really accessible. That's why this year, and I love that you mentioned it, where we have like a kind of a sub campaign that we're going to be launching called Lower the Barriers. And through that, we are literally lowering the barriers on cost, accessibility, inclusion across the board, right? So I think it was just an important time to do that type of thing, and hopefully Project Mayhem will help that be a success, and we can get a lot of people in the sport.
By the name, it's a pretty interesting name. Where's the mayhem come in?
Well, so as everything in cycling, and I'm sure you've experienced this, like steeped in tradition, and the categories, how even the daily events are structured. They're always the elites at the end of the day. And it's spaced out. So what we were noticing, we brought a lot of women athletes in to advise us around, like, does that make sense? And the answer was no, because a lot of times a beginner female racer for the first time is going to show up, and they're the only females there. They're the only women there. And because, the elite racers are all the way at the end of the day. So we restructured the race, the schedule for each event. So there is a higher likelihood a beginner rider would see the elite riders and see other women around, like little things like that.
Yeah, little things like that.
And
some overlap.
So Project Mayhem is specifically like, let's do something different than what everybody's done, and we're continuing that with this year as well.
Okay, I might be jumping ahead, but you have 6 races in the series?
Yes, this year we do, yeah.
Okay, and they're all in Connecticut. Each one has a specific race promoter. Are you all on the same page with the type of format you have for the day?
Yes. Yeah. So there's certain things that we 100% have to align on, and that is the race schedule, the categories, the point system for the series points. And we do that as a collective. There's certain aspects that as the series race promoter, I can leave the decisions up to the individual clubs.
Sure.
Around certain aspects of it. So we're not dictating what they choose to do for medals. We're not dictating how much their entry fee is going to be. We can strongly recommend how we would like to see, some consistency throughout the races, but stuff like that, these clubs, everybody's holding a race for a different reason. I mean, collectively it's to grow community, but there's other reasons, right? So we try to stay out of that.
What do you think are the biggest barriers to keeping people from trying cyclocross? Like, and how are you intentionally removing them?
Yeah, it's intimidating, right?
Yeah.
So for one, and I've had this discussion with a lot of people, we get really serious. Like, the athletes get really serious on race day. So you could be cordial and funny and this person one day, but as soon as you are starting to get ready, doing pre-ride, doing all this stuff, it's like a lot of people get so that's just intimidating. If you're a new rider and you see that, you're like, why is everybody so mean, or whatever. That's part of it. Bike racers can be a bit, especially at the upper echelon or the elite size, it's just too serious. That's one. Cost is definitely one, especially this year. I mean, with inflation, the price of entry fees are up, so that's a barrier for sure. Awareness is a barrier, and coaching, that type of stuff. I mean, to be a cross racer, they're technical. Our courses vary, but most of them are pretty technical courses. They're not easy by any any standard, right? So they're pretty tough courses. So that's another barrier. And so I have another, and Richard helps with this by funding it, is GNAR is what we call it. So it's Get New Athletes Racing.
Get New Athletes Racing. Okay, and before you jump ahead, you mentioned Richard. And
Yeah,
for folks not familiar with Richard, we're talking about Richard Sachs, and he's the title sponsor for this series, correct?
he is. Yes. Yes.
Okay, and that's awesome. Like, how did that connection come about? Have you and Richard been friends for a long time, or?
Yes. Him and I have been friends for a while. I would say once I left Coca-Cola, moved back to Connecticut, we kind of started working together here and there on different things.
What a great
And
partner to have.
yeah, he is a close friend, great partner, awesome for the sport, awesome for New England. I mean, it's very cool.
That's awesome. All right, so you mentioned a bunch of barriers. So have you done things to maybe make it a little easier? Okay.
Yes. So and we're improving that even this year. So one of the big changes we're making this year, and we can get into it maybe a little bit later, is we're moving from USA Cycling to NABRA. NABRA is a national-wide organization that's not necessarily a replacement of USA Cycling. They're just handling things a little bit differently.
From an insurance perspective?
From insurance perspective, and they're quite honestly, they're less expensive. So that helps us lower the cost barrier. And, and it's been a really proven system because in the Northwest, NABRA is an offshoot of OBRA in Oregon, and they've been running cyclocross races this way for a very long time, and it's very proven. Awesome numbers over there for registration, great community building. And so that's expanded, and for some of us who are lucky to be able to have that contact and make that switch is one barrier.
That's cool.
The other barrier that we started with a couple races 2 years ago in our first season, because Richard was like, hey, do you need some extra money to do something special? We started offering free women's clinics, women specifically, coached by women athletes.
Yeah.
That's one. And they're always on the race course the day before. They have the full access to the course.
Oh, I love that.
And that's
free.
So you
show up and you take a couple laps and you learn how to approach the barriers properly.
Right. From a former pro. Yeah.
Wow.
And so that's one, like, free. I'm covering the cost of that. The other thing that we started doing for a couple races at the end of the first season was offering free entries for the first 20 spots of the women 5s and 4-5s. So there's no excuse.
Yeah.
So that was another thing that we did that we're continuing this year. Last year we opened it up to 3 clinics, and then all the races offered those free 20 spots, first 20 spots. And that was really, so last year we've got, I believe, 68 women to try cyclocross for the first time. And I want that number to go up.
That's amazing.
So we're doing it again this year. The
Fantastic.
new news on that hasn't really been shared out yet is we have enough funding this year that I'm now opening that up to men. So the men's races, there will be 3 clinics separate from the women's clinic, run by elite athletes for that. Yep. I'm not going to drop any names right now because I'm still working on the details of who can do what on what days, but very, very successful former athletes. So are going to be running those clinics.
Well, that's so cool.
We're going to cover the first 20 spots for the 5 and the 4-5 men's combined.
Wow.
Yeah. So the clinics will also be junior men.
So it's like, no excuse, man. Come on, we're going to cover you and
lowering the barriers.
We're going to show you how to do this right the day before.
Yep.
So, like, out of all the events, well, one of them's kicking off in the first week of September. Which one is that?
So that's from River Valley. So that's Blunt Park. Shout out to River Valley. Is usually, I believe it's might be August 29th or something. I don't have the exact date. Our first race is going to be Belltown. It's a double up weekend, season opener in Portland, Connecticut. Saturday and Sunday races with a Friday clinic. And that is the 11th, 12th, and 13th, I believe. Yeah.
So Blunt Park is not part of your series?
No, they're part of the River Valley series.
Okay, got it. All right. So
Yeah.
you have that. They're kicking off the season, and then your races kick in.
Yeah, 2 weeks later. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So what's a good turnout in terms of number of races for an event of yours? Like, what are you happy with?
There's never a good turnout these days.
Are we talking 300?
Yeah.
More?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
like if our promoters, once again, each individual promoter has their own metric of success.
Yeah.
But I think if we hit 300, we're pretty happy. Yeah. But
Nice.
there was days where there was years where that was like, it was like 400, 500 riders. We would love to see that,
Yeah.
and we think that the best way to do that is to get that in the 4 5s and,
Yeah.
the 4s and the 3s, and that way, like expanding that way and moving people through the system.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you're going to have your core group of masters all the time, right? And
You
then you want to get the 4 5s coming in.
I would love to see more masters coming down from Massachusetts. If I was to say one complaint, I'm a masters racer and I go to Massachusetts to race, and I would love to see more of them coming down and doing our series.
Well, the vast majority of our listeners for this podcast do come from Massachusetts because that's where I'm based out of. So, guys, come on, and ladies, get down there.
Yeah.
It sounds like a great series. So, I think people can just jump into one race. You don't have to do the whole series.
That's correct.
Right? Okay. Yeah. But if you do the whole series, you get kind of slotted into the point system, and that can be kind of fun to chase.
You do. And we have some really fun prizes every year. So my friend, colleague, and business partner, Jed Kornblum, have this company, Destro, where we're doing kit. We do kit race winner series jerseys at the end of the season. So we get everybody's size and after the last race and who won the series, and they get a really nice jersey to,
wow, that's cool.
And then I also kind of manufacture or mold medals based on the soap from Fight Club that everybody gets. And each one is different, right? So there's never one that's the same. And, that's another really cool prize that we give out.
That's cool. So when someone shows up to your race for the first time, right? Maybe it's one of the 4 or 5 men or women. What do you hope they experience and take away from that day?
Well, this is the brand side of me coming out, but I think what we want is promoters. Okay. We want people who are not detractors. And the only way you're going to get people who are promoters, because, like if somebody has a bad experience, they're going to tell 2 times the amount of people that they had a bad experience. So what we want is to people to show up, go to a clinic, get inspired, learn some really cool stuff, do a race, have fun, right? Feel proud, want to come back to best themselves, right? Because that's so much of what cross is also. And then tell people about it and bring a friend next time. I mean, like that, ultimately, our goal is to grow community, and that's the way to do it. It's the community that has to grow community. We can only, give them a place to gather. Yeah.
Lead a horse to water. So, Jeremy, I only have a gravel bike. I only have a mountain bike. What should I do? Can I show up?
Yes. The answer is yes. You can race on either one of those.
I mean, I mean, it seems like everybody's got a gravel bike these days.
Yeah. That's a whole other discussion.
I know, it's a whole nother discussion. They are a little bit more comfortable than your traditional cyclocross bike, but I ride with a lot of folks now who have what they call gravel bikes. And I tell them, like, hey, it's fine. Show up. Try it with your gravel bike.
Well, one thing that I've noticed, so I race gravel as well, and I tend to race on as low profile of a gravel race tire as possible. Like maybe like file treads, stuff
File
like that.
treads,
But
yeah.
I've noticed a lot of people race gravel on really aggressive
Yeah.
tires that they don't need for gravel, but they would just be perfect for cyclocross. So
Yep.
show up, lower your pressure a little bit, and come corner some fun courses, corner around on some fun courses. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess my pitch would be if I was in your shoes, I'd say, hey, bring your gravel bike. This is how you should set it up for the course. These events only last, 30 or 45 minutes, depending on what your category is. And then, go and do your warm up and cool down, and you've got like a great workout for the day.
All you need to do is lower your saddle a little bit and lower your tire pressure, and you're good to
Bam.
go. Yeah.
I mean, so you and I have done cross. I started in 97 on my mountain bike, and, it's pretty addictive, right? Like,
Mhm.
what is it about cross that makes it different from road racing or mountain biking or even gravel racing or riding?
Well, the intensity is much higher, and there's so many opportunities to improve. I think that's one of the things. The same can be said for racing a mountain bike. They're similar in that respect because it's so much about getting good at the technical aspects of the sport versus having the best fitness in the world. So I think that's part of it. It's fun, and you know when you made mistakes,
Yeah.
and you want to do better next time. And I think that's part of it. But that's my
Yeah.
personal view.
I
I
do
mean,
too. Yeah. It's like, can you drive your bike as well as you can, push your bike, right? They said it's like, I don't know, 50% driving, meaning,
yeah,
controlling it.
yeah. There's no look in a gravel event. You can hide in the field,
Yeah.
even a crit, right? You can hide. You can like hide your lack of fitness. In cross, you can't. And I think
Yep.
like that. And as you progress through your categories and you upgrade, it just gets harder and harder. And that is very addictive. And I don't know if there's many races that cause you to go so deep in such a short period of time, except maybe racing in Zwift, right?
Yep. That'll kill you.
But it's just the amount of endorphins that you're getting from like putting your body under that much pressure. Maybe I don't know. I'm just guessing, but
So Jeremy, 3 to 5 years from now, let's say, right? Let's put our entrepreneurship hat on, or just our fun hat on. 3 to 5 years from now, where would you love to see Project Mayhem? Would you love to see it with more participants, more women, more juniors? Like, what's your wish list?
okay. I want to answer this accurately. First, I'm going to say my view of where the series might be in 3 to 5 years is my view, right? Like we are a collective, as I said, so everybody
Sure.
probably has their own thoughts of where this should go, and all of it's valid. I would say I definitely want the series to be bigger than Connecticut. I think that's one. Now, whether we have races established in other parts of New England joining our series, or, a lot of our races are down, along the I-95 corridor. So, we have Guilford down there. We have New Haven. There's a possible other venue near New Haven that we're in early discussions about. So there are some southern Connecticut races. So northern New Jersey, New York is also possible. So if there's races there that want to join the series, that
Interesting.
would
Yeah.
be great. It could be a northeastern series, right? Like
Yep.
it could be tri-state versus New England, which is fine, right? In my opinion, because I think once again, outside of Connecticut, expanding influence. I would love to see other Project Mayhem series get started by other promoters, like in other parts of the United States, right? That could be pretty
That would
cool.
be really cool. Yeah.
Where we're not really involved, but they're just kind of taking, what we've established and
Yeah.
doing their own. That
Yep.
would be super cool. I would love to see a ton of new racers in 3 to 5 years, like that we've completely transformed or helped transform the face of the sport that way, like seeing,
Yeah.
just
Well, just
very
on that note,
diverse. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just thinking about some of the folks we've had in the podcast around the youth cycling side of things.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of mountain biking. There's some road racing with folks from CCAP.
Mhm.
Are they doing any cross racing, to get the
Yeah.
young folks?
Yeah, so thank you for bringing that up. I should have mentioned it earlier, but Brian from CCAP is involved in Project Mayhem, Brian Wolf,
Brian Wolf,
and
yep.
CCAP sponsors and runs the junior PMCX series championships, right? So any junior that's racing a PMCX race is actually is part of the CCAP Junior Series.
Nice.
Yeah, so
And
they're involved too.
yeah. And I see Adam's doing a bunch of stuff up here in Massachusetts with some, with his son and some younger folks in the cross
Mhm.
series. So that's cool.
Yeah, Adam's been pretty supportive and coming down with his son and doing our races, which is cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay, I got something for you. Can we do a quick lightning round?
Oh, I'll try.
Quick lightning round of questions. So, all right, number one, what do you prefer, sand or mud?
Sand.
Okay, bells or heckling?
Tackling.
Heckling. Okay. Best post race food?
Ice cream.
Ice cream. All right. Biggest cyclocross myth?
That it's getting put out of business because of gravel.
What is your favorite course feature?
Barriers.
Okay, and what's your one piece of advice for someone's very first race?
Make sure you puke.
I was going to say, make sure you don't blow up in the first 3 minutes.
Either or. Either or.
The other thing I'd love to just find out, this is a little bit off topic, but what's it like working for LEGO?
Well, I was there for 16 years, so most of my adult life, it's what you would think. But of course,
I think it would be pretty creative, like filled with lots of fun ideas and collaborations with other brands and pretty high pace.
Yeah, so as a global creative director there,
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time in Denmark. I worked. They had me living in England for a while, working for them. So I got to meet a lot of people. I got to ride my bike in a lot of places.
Wow.
And yeah, it was a really creative place to work. It's some of my closest friends are still there, and yeah, I stay in touch. I always know what's going on over there.
What's your favorite Lego product?
Gosh, that's a tough question.
Like something giant that takes like a week to build, or?
No, I tend to like building things on my own.
Yeah.
I'm one of those kind of
Got
Lego
it. Yep.
builders, or I was, but I would say the coolest product is probably any of the Slave One sets from Star Wars.
What did you call it? The
Slave One.
Slave One.
Boba Fett's ship.
Yep.
I mean, and then Bionicle was just such a groundbreaking toy for them, and to be a part of that, when that was happening was pretty cool. So yeah, big fan there.
That's awesome. So last couple things I'll mention. You mentioned something about a cycling kit that you are doing as a side company. Can clubs around New England reach out to you to design and manufacture those kits?
Yes. So part of, we didn't touch on this. So part of the fact that I've spent my entire life racing my bike but not being involved in the cycling industry was pretty deliberate. And when as like a business, right? Or like a job. I could have, but I made that choice a long time ago. But in this pivot that we were talking about earlier, it's all about making our sport as accessible as possible. That's my mission, and that's why I started getting involved in the industry. And Destro, our apparel company, is one of the ways that we're doing it. We spent 2 years riding in kit, that pitch, right? Like making sure it was right, but it was really important. The quality level was at
Need a good chamois.
Level. Yeah. Stitching. It needs to last. It needs to fit good. Like all that kind of stuff was really, really important. And we're committed to be able to do that and still offer custom kit below, say, $100 or $90 for a bib or $90 for a jersey, So it's all about getting more people into our sport. And people, if somebody has to spend $140 on a pair of bibs, you're immediately like removing them. It's you're raising that barrier of entry.
So my rule of thumb has been like, if you can get somebody in like a full bib and jersey kit for under, let's say $200, like $180, $200, like that's pretty good.
And that's what we're doing.
Yeah. What's the name of the website? Is it live yet?
So that's the thing. So how do you lower these costs, right? How do you lower the cost of the products? You don't have overhead. So at this point, like we're eventually going to do a website, but the Instagram is Destro for Hire, at Destro for Hire. All the communications,
put that in the show notes.
Yeah, they're all going through Destro for Hire, through the Instagram. Message us because, like once again, we start having a website. We're adding complexity. We're raising the cost of the kit and that type of stuff. So eventually, we'll get there. We still do like an ordering page for clubs. Like if they have. We'll give them an e-com page where they can go, and order stuff. But yeah, as far as reaching out to us and you want to see some of the stuff we've done, Destro for Hire is the spot. Yeah.
Any final plugs on Project Mayhem before we close out this episode?
Just come and race with us. Honestly, like we're here. We're a competitive race series, but we're also a community series, and we really, really think that cyclocross is the best form of our sport, where you don't have to blow up your whole weekend for it either. So just come race with us, do the first race, get some points so you get a good call up on the next one and keep coming. Yeah.
That would be a lowering the barrier opportunity there, Jeremy, to put the folks who don't have points, stick them right in the front line.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. No, don't do that.
I'm open.
No, this was great. I'm really glad you came on. I love showcasing anything that's happening around New England related to endurance sports, and I happen to love cyclocross, and this is all taking place in Connecticut. So thank you so much for joining us today. I love what you're building down there and with all the other partners that you have and that you mentioned and that Richard Sachs is helping out as well. It sounds like it's more than a race series, but it's about creating this community and like you said, lowering the barriers to race entry. So if you're listening to this episode today and you're a little curious about cyclocross, check out one of these races in Connecticut or just find something else local wherever you might be living, or just bring a friend, go and cheer on a friend, bring a couple of cowbells. And if you feel like it, pin a number. We're going to put all the links to Project Mayhem in our show notes and Jeremy's socials as well. Thank you, Jeremy, for coming on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you, and thanks for the opportunity and, giving your listeners some, news about Project Mayhem. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Cool. And thanks so much for listening to this episode of the New England Endurance Podcast. Until next time, get out there, drop some hammers, and enjoy the beautiful terrain of New England. Thank you.